Let me ask you something dangerous. Not the kind of question you laugh off with a clever answer. Not the kind you can Google in 5 seconds. I mean the kind of question that pierces your chest and won't let you sleep tonight. Here it is. Are you free? Not legally, not politically, not financially. Are you truly free? Do you decide your life, or are you living a script someone else wrote for you? Parents, society, bosses, algorithms. Do you own your mind, or has it been rented out, little by little, to every distraction, trend, and opinion that passes by? Are you free, or are you comfortable? Because there's a difference. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, writing under the shadow of Nazi Germany, said something most people still don't want to hear. The greatest danger is not evil. The greatest danger is stupidity. He wasn't talking about IQ. He was talking about something far more terrifying, a blindness of the soul. A stupid person, in Bonhoeffer's sense, is not someone who lacks intelligence. It's someone who refuses to use it. It's the person who repeats what the crowd says, not because they believe it, but because it's easier than questioning. It's the person who cheers for cruelty if everyone else is cheering. It's the person who lets their silence become the language of obedience. And here is the painful part. We all do this. You do. I do. Every day, in small ways, we surrender to stupidity. Let's be honest. How many of your thoughts today were actually yours? Did you choose what you wanted to think about this morning, or did your phone decide for you? Did you choose your opinions, or did the news feed hand them to you, packaged and labeled? Did you choose your desires, or were they planted in you by ads, influencers, and celebrities you'll never meet? Most of us are like rivers that don't know where they're flowing. We move because the current pushes us. We scroll because the algorithm commands it. We nod because the crowd demands it. And then one day, we wake up, years later, realizing I never lived my own life. I only lived the lives others expected of me. Plato saw this thousands of years ago. He told the story of prisoners chained inside a cave, watching shadows dance on the wall. They believed the shadows were real life because they had never seen the sun. That's us. We live chained in digital caves, staring at glowing screens, mistaking shadows for reality. Likes become love, followers become friends, memes become philosophy. And anyone who dares step outside, who dares to say, there's more than this, they're mocked, laughed at, even hated. Because the crowd does not forgive the one who escapes the cave. The crowd hates being reminded that they are prisoners. History repeats this cycle again and again. The Romans had bread and circuses. Feed the people, distract them with games, and watch them trade their freedom for entertainment. Our circuses are endless. Netflix, TikTok, gossip, pornography, celebrity drama, sports obsession. None of these things are evil on their own. But when they become the center of life, when they numb us, when they make us forget our hunger for truth and meaning, they become chains. And when a society lives too long in chains, it rots. Rome fell, and so will we. But let's bring this closer. Think of your own life. How many times have you said, it'll change tomorrow? How many times have you swallowed your truth because you didn't want to look strange? How many times have you known something was wrong at work, in politics, in your community, but you stayed silent because you didn't want the burden of being different? That's how the chains tighten, not with a sudden crash, but with a quiet whisper. Stay comfortable. Don't speak. Don't risk it. And so we obey. And so fools rise to power. And so corruption thrives. Not because evil is strong, but because we are weak. Machiavelli saw this clearly. He said people do not really want freedom. They want safety. They want comfort. They want someone else to carry the weight of responsibility. And so they give their loyalty to rulers who promise them peace, even if it costs their dignity, even if it costs their soul. And Nietzsche warned us what happens next. When the herd mentality takes over, greatness is despised, creativity is mocked, individuality is punished. The herd does not want to be led into the light. The herd wants to stay in the dark, because the dark is familiar, and the familiar feels safe. And this is why civilizations fall, not because of outside enemies, but because inside, the people choose shadows over truth. But here is the twist that most people don't want to hear. It's not just them, it's you. Yes, you. The chains are not only on society, they're on your wrists, your mind, your heart. And every day, you choose whether to make them tighter or weaker. Every time you silence your voice when you should speak, the chains tighten. Every time you choose comfort over courage, the chains tighten. Every time you repeat a lie just to fit in, the chains tighten. But every time you choose truth, no matter how small, the chains weaken. Think about the small rebellions. When you refuse to repost something you don't believe, even though everyone else is doing it. When you say no to gossip, even though silence would have been easier. When you take a day off social media, and for the first time in years, you feel your mind breathing again. These are not small acts. These are revolutions of the soul. Because the great battle of our time is not fought with weapons. It is fought in the invisible space of your choices. Kierkegaard said it best, the crowd is untruth. The crowd never asks what is right. It only asks, what is everyone else doing? But the truth, the real truth, has never belonged to the crowd. It has always belonged to the individual. Socrates stood alone against Athens. Galileo stood alone against the church. Bonhoeffer stood alone against the Nazis. And today, you may not face death for your defiance, but you will face ridicule, rejection, loneliness, and that's why most people stay in the cave. But what if you didn't? What if you were the one who chose differently? What if you were the one person at the table who refused to nod at the lie? What if you were the one person in the crowd who refused to chant? What if you were the one person in the room who said, no, that is not true? The herd would mock you. The herd would despise you. But in that moment, you would be free. And freedom is contagious. Your defiance could ignite someone else, and theirs could ignite another. Until one day, the cave begins to crack. But here is the most dangerous truth of all. Most people don't actually want freedom. Freedom is heavy. Freedom is frightening. Freedom demands responsibility. That's why, when offered the choice, most will beg for new chains. Chains disguised as comfort. Chains disguised as entertainment. Chains disguised as safety. And they will even fight to protect their chains. So if you truly want freedom, real freedom, be prepared. Because freedom will cost you everything the world told you to love. Comfort, approval, security. But what you gain is yourself. So I leave you with this. Tonight, when the screen goes dark and it's just you and your thoughts, ask yourself, did I live today as a prisoner or as a free person? Did I think for myself or did I let the herd think for me? Did I break even one chain or did I forge new ones? Because civilizations fall not from outside attacks, but from inside surrender. And whether you realize it or not, you are always voting every day with your life. So we'll ask you again, are you free? Or are you one of them? The disease spreads in silence, but so does the cure, and it begins right now with you.